Hello, a very, very cold Tuesday night, winning live online with Debbie Sloan, who has got lots of layers on tonight. So glad that you could join me and trusting that you've had a really great week. We are supposed to be heading into spring this weekend. Hopefully, we will be seeing signs of spring. I'm not sure. But just, yeah, trust that you are keeping warm, keeping positive. It's quite tough to keep positive when it's cold. In fact, I was saying to someone, I don't know how guys cope who live in Europe where it's grey for 8 to 9 months of every year. I really don't know how they do that. I find that when the weather's grey and it's windy, it kind of affects your personality. So hopefully you're not feeling too grumpy and grim, and just set aside the next 20-25 minutes. This is a time just for you where you get to lean in, get to be encouraged, inspired, challenged, but above all else, it's winning keys to living a winning life, that you walk away with something that you can apply in your life. So if you're new to this platform, my name is Debbie and I am the lead pastor of an amazing church in Kenilworth called A City, A, which is A for authentic. And just love my church, love seeing how people's lives are being transformed and changed, and that I get to be a part of that. Hey Zama, hey Carlo, good to see you both. And I'm wearing such an amazing snood. This was made for me by someone special. And it's got it's almost like a suede wool, and it's the most comforting things ever. I find when it's cold, I love to have comforting soft fabrics close to my face. So I'm really snuggling into this tonight. Hey Trace, good to see you. So tonight we're looking at follow on. And, let me just start by asking a couple of questions. How many decisions have you made since you opened your eyes this morning? I mean, if we had to add up all the decisions, I think the decisions from when you first opened your eyes until you got into your vehicle, or however you get to the office or school or whatever you do, how many decisions have you made? Good to see everyone jumping on. Hey Nicole, hey Shelly, thanks for joining me tonight. Hope you've all got a warm cup of something close by, or you've got your blankies wrapped around your waist. I know you all do that, including me. So, if I think of the decisions that we make, and I mean, life is full of decisions. I think decisions is a very integral part of what we do. But I think sometimes we can be so busy making decisions that we overlook a very important part of our day. And it's a choice that we need to be very mindful of. We get so caught up in decisions that range from menial things like which color jersey am I going to wear today, to maybe making life-changing decisions, in your place of work. Maybe you're making a decision about someone's future at your company, or, which client to pursue. So, there's varying degrees regarding decision-making and the degree of importance. But this next one that I'm going to share with you, I think it's kind of even more important than the decisions we make. And I'm going to kind of let you know what I think that very important thing is after I've given you tonight's text. Hey man, it's good to see you. And so 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1, Paul's writing to the church at Corinth, and he says to the congregants, follow my example as I follow the example of the Lord. And so that's my thing that I think is even more important than, making decisions. Who are we following in our day? And maybe you sort of thinking, but I don't follow anyone. I'm just too busy making decisions. But I think we follow lots of things in our day without even being aware of it. And, looking at things to follow, people to follow, I think there's lots of people and things that volunteer for the position of who are we going to follow. But not all of them are qualified, and not all of those things that volunteer for us to follow are actually worth following. I mean, I'm just going to pick a random thing. I mean, if you look at the whole thing with baggy jeans at the moment, okay, you get so many types of baggy jeans. You get low slung baggy jeans. You get high-waisted baggy jeans. You get baggy jeans with turn-ups. I mean, the bottom line is it's baggy jeans. I mean, I follow that trend. I love baggy jeans. I find them so much more comfortable than skinnies. And so that's a trend I'm following, and I think it's a pretty healthy trend. I don't think it's damaging me in any way, but it's definitely a trend I'm following, and it's definitely a trend that thousands of other people are following. So, you know, we're designed, there's something intrinsic within us that we have the ability to follow. So, you know, that's a cool thing to follow. Maybe look at another example of following. I don't know if you've ever followed someone in a car. That's like my worst nightmare. Because if I'm following someone, sometimes they drive a lot faster than what I do. And then I'm like panicking. I need to keep up with them. You know, if they hit the traffic light and it's on green and I hit it on red, do I go through the red to keep up with them? You know, if you're following someone, maybe they'll take you on a route that you're not used to. Well, if you're following them, they would do that because generally it means you don't know where you're going, and that's why you're following them. So following someone en route to somewhere can be a pretty scary thing. And, you know, you may find you do things that you wouldn't normally do if you're following someone. Like maybe they just touch and go at the stop sign. So you also touch and go at the stop sign, which you wouldn't normally do. I've just found that when we follow someone in a car, I've seen people do things they wouldn't normally do. And I want to kind of land that analogy with things that we follow, and we follow without being mindful. Feelings is one of them. So feelings will present themselves to us to follow. So for example, if you're feeling weary and we follow weariness, which means we allow weariness to dominate. Now listen, we all get tired. I totally get that. But sometimes, you know, we follow weariness and it can sometimes take us down maybe a bit of a kind of dark space where everything seems just so negative and just so going nowhere slowly. Or we may follow the feeling hope, and that can lead us to a path that's upward in its trend. Or maybe we follow worry, and then everything we think is worry, everything we say is worry, and we just worry because we're following something that's leading. And so each of these things, I mean, I've just mentioned three: weariness, worry, and hope. Those three things have the capacity to actually lead us from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to bed. I mean, if you think of if you wake up feeling anxious, and if you follow that feeling, it will affect your thinking, it'll affect your speech, it'll affect your mood. It can even affect you in terms of your, just holistically, your sense of well-being. And sometimes we follow feelings without being mindful of what we're following. We just kind of follow. And so it's almost like we allow those things to take charge of the steering wheel of our day. And then those things, because we're following them, can often lead us into spaces where, why am I doing this? This isn't what I normally like. And so I think we need to be very intentional about what am I following. I think we need to be intentional about what we follow, because otherwise life can just be like just one big crazy mess of happening. It's like I seem to be following that, following this, and I'm not intentional about what I'm following. Let's look at an example. You know, if you make a decision, I choose to follow hope, which means even though life is crazy and things go crazy in your day, you get a puncture on the way to the office, you find out that your desk has been moved, your child's teacher phones in the morning to say, please come and pick up your child, they're vomiting in the bathroom. You know, I can go on and on. But if you're following hope, you'll see all of those from God, you're with me in this situation. I'm following hope. I choose to think hope. I choose to speak hope. And it actually affects how you navigate your way through all of those complexities. You know, it's not about, I just want to scrape myself to the end of the day, or I just want to get to the end of the week, or I just want to get to the end of the month. It's not about where you're getting to. It's how are you getting to that end point. You know, we all face challenges. We all face the same 24 hours in a day. But what we do with those 24 hours depends on who are you following. I've been in a recent situation for the last couple of days where I've been in a bit of an unusual, unfamiliar environment, and I've been quite anxious. But in that, I've chosen to follow hope and making a difference in people's lives. So I've met so many people in the past few days. I've learned stuff about them. I've tried to encourage them because I've made the decision to follow hope and to follow faith. What you choose to follow is so instrumental in shaping how you do your life. And so I don't want to think that we're just being tossed around by anything and everything that invites us to come and follow them. Stress invites us to come and follow it when lots of things are happening and you feel that capacity and expectation are miles apart. And if you choose to follow stress, you're not going to be able to perform. But if you choose to follow faith and hope, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Think about fear. If we follow fear, it can often get us to freeze. If we follow pride, pride can maybe push us with the wrong motivation. I need to be better than others, not because I want to better me. I just want to be better than others. Hurt can hinder. If we're following hurt, we can live a day or a life feeling offended, on the back foot, being antagonistic, isolating ourselves. Grace saves, hope holds. And so the feeling that we follow, I'm going to reiterate, it shapes our thinking, our speech, our functioning, our perspective. And so maybe look at a follow-on checklist and ask yourself the question, who did you follow today? What feeling did you follow? And sure, feelings come and we must acknowledge feelings. We need to feel the feeling. We need to look at it. We need to look at what is that feeling communicating and then move forward. Or we just follow the feeling. And if it's a negative feeling, it's going to take us down a path that maybe we don't want to go down. Remember, we are powerful people who have a voice and the ability to make decisions. But we need to be mindful about our day. Every day has challenges, but we can still get to the end of that day. And if we choose to follow gratitude, it's like, I'm so grateful, and go through the things we're grateful for. And that affects our well-being. It affects our perspective. It affects how we interact with others. You might wake up irritated, and that happens. We're not always going to wake up feeling awesome. And if you wake up feeling irritated, feel the feeling, look at the feeling, why am I feeling like this? But then choose the feeling that you want to follow for the rest of the day. And maybe come in with the opposite spirit. And it's like, I'm feeling irritated, but I'm going to be pursuing joy today. I want to make a difference in the lives of others in my day. Are you maybe following leftover anger? And you've had an issue with someone else, but now you're allowing that issue to affect all your other relationships because you're following leftover anger. Or maybe you're following fresh forgiveness. Maybe you choose to live following forgiveness. I choose to forgive. I choose to not hold and harbor resentment. Think about who gets to be the filter of your daily conversations. Is your filter negativity? Or is your filter hope? Is your filter, I shared this on Sunday with our servers, I want to turn people's upside down lives the right side up. And we do that through encouragement. We do that through speaking positively into people's lives. But if we're following the wrong feeling, we're not going to see the opportunities that come. And so we all have feelings, we all feel feelings, and feelings are important because they communicate that there's something that needs to be addressed, looked at, resolved. But we're made in God's image. Choose the feeling that you want to follow. So, I just look at when you get to the end of each day, it's to ask yourself the question, what difference did I make in someone's day today? And I think we need to be able to answer that question positively every day. And it doesn't have to be a mammoth, monumental difference that we've made. It can simply be showing an interest in someone. If I look at, as I said, over the past 2 days, I've been in an unusual environment, and it's like talking to people. So, what do you do? What's next for you? And how many children do you have? And you've done such a great job. Make a difference. Get to the end of your day and actually look at, I made a difference. I turned someone's upside down life the right side up. But again, what feeling are we following? What decisions are we following? I decide to make a difference in someone's life, or I decide it's just about me and my stuff. It's all about decisions regarding who or what we follow. So I don't know if you've ever had a situation where you've been following someone somewhere and you're like, you know what, I don't want to drive at breakneck speed. So I'm actually going to stop, pull over, I'm not going to follow them anymore. You have the decision and the power to make that decision. And sometimes if we've maybe been following the wrong feeling, actually catch yourself in the moment and say, I'm pulling over, I'm stopping, and I'm going to follow a totally different feeling. I'm going to come in with the opposite because I have the power to make that decision. Take charge of how you travel through each day. Take charge of how you travel through your life. God's given us one shot at this life. And it's like, it's up to us how we live it. That's not the Lord's prerogative to make that decision. He's given us everything to live a life that's full and abundant despite challenges. Sometimes we kind of get to, yeah, but everyone's doing it. Everyone is doing X, Y, and Z in terms of how they handle different situations. We're not called to be everyone. What did the scripture say in 1 Corinthians? Follow Christ's example. Make a difference. Be the difference. And so I want to close tonight by looking at Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector, and in Luke 19 verses 1 to 10, it tells us about Zacchaeus was not good. Zacchaeus was misappropriating finances and exploiting his own people. Zacchaeus was hugely unpopular because he was a hustler and he was hustling. But he made a decision one day when he heard that Jesus was coming to town. I got to see Jesus. And he made a decision to follow Jesus. In fact, Jesus came and ate a meal at his home. And Zacchaeus, actually, it says here, he gave half of his possessions back to the poor. And he said, if I cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. He made a mindful decision about who he was going to follow. And it turned his whole life the right side up. One decision totally transformed his life. And the thing that had him captured and imprisoned, which was greed for money, the Lord set him free from that because he made a decision about who he was going to follow. I'm not going to follow greed anymore. I'm not going to follow acquiring vast amounts of money. I'm going to follow Jesus. And look at everything that happened as a result. So as we land tonight, who are you following? What are you following? And maybe you need to kind of like, hold on a minute. What's the fruit of what I'm following? And if there isn't any fruit, then stop following. Maybe you're following a bad habit. So stop following. Make a decision about who and what you're going to follow and be mindful about that. So I think the challenge is You know, I always look at it this way: today's gone. You'll never get another Tuesday like today. Never, ever, ever, never. You had one shot at today. We have one shot at every day. Make it count. Impact, influence, turn upside down lives right side up. And we do that when we're following the right things. So I hope that you've been as challenged as I've been, because it's so easy just to follow the wrong stuff and to focus on our stuff. But we're called to be the difference by being different. So I hope you have a great week. Next week, I'm hopeful to say, hey, we saw sun this week. So be blessed, be encouraged, and let's make a difference. Can't wait to see you next week. Stay warm, take care, be extravagant in blessing the lives of others, and see you all next time. Bye, everyone.